Hey everybody, we're back in the Sports Lounge. We're going to go out to IUP and get a chance to tell one-on-one with Coach Lou Tepper. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Bo, I'm doing great. I was much better at first.
You know, Coach, there's so much going on in your program. There's so much good news coming out of your conference. It's a credit to what you've done over the years. Every time we have you on, we've either got alumni or students that call up and talk about what a resurrection you've done with their program. And you know, college kids always take ownership of their team's school, whether they do it physically or mentally. And for them to come forward and talk about all the things that you've done for their program, it's very impressive on our side.
Well, I'm humbled that you would say that, and I've been blessed in my career, and I'm excited to be here. You know, the kind of the mantra of Division II is I chose Division II, and that is certainly very true in my case. I have chosen to be here, and I love it here.
Coach, you know, what is that special secret that you run every year to kick out the caliber of football? You've got NFL camps showing up. You've got academic All-Americans. You've got just a credit to your school being graduated, you know, year after year, and you've only been there a short time.
Well, certainly you would hope after 43 years that I would have learned something.
Yeah.
And the Lord's blessed me with health. I've got a good staff that doesn't get enough credit, and we've been able to recruit some people who fit our vision. In fact, I've just prepared my type meeting notes for my first two meetings, and I do quote Tony Dungy in one of them, because we have a very firm mission statement. And one of the things that Tony said, in fact, I have it here in front of me, and I'll quote it to you. He says, "I told the team that despite my soft-spoken approach, I would hold each of them accountable. There are three possible options to correct this, and this were any issues they had with their team, and to get them where we need to be. One solution is for me to change, to decide I'm wrong, and change my vision for this team. That is not going to happen. The second option is for you to change, put in more time, go harder, pay more attention to details. The final option is that we'll simply have to go out and find another guy." It's your choice. And while I wouldn't describe it completely like that, we do have a very intentional mission statement. Our players know that I am not changing. There are certain academic expectations to be in our squad. There are certain social expectations to be in our squad. There are certain physical expectations to be in our squad. And there's a certain, we call it men built for others concept to be in our squad. And so when they go outside those lines, then the option is that they either have to change or they're not going to be with us. And so I think when you're firm about that, the wonderful thing that we have in college athletics is that our players want so desperately to play that they are willing to change behavior to have the option to play. And if you hold their feet to the fire and you make them change, then for the most part, you can have a lot of fun, because not only are you going to be doing the right things in the field, but you're going to get them to do the right things in life. And I think there are someone had spoken to me, somebody from the media spoke to me. They're doing an article on coaches who have been in Division I and Division II, and what are the differences. And part of I think the concept was perhaps to show that Division II was better, a better environment. And while I think there is possibly some truth in that, great coaches, no matter what division they're in, 1, 2, 3, NAIA, NFL, if they want to do the right things, they can, and they can influence young men in a positive way. If they're going to take shortcuts, no matter what the division is, then they're not going to. Their players aren't going to prosper as much. They may win, but they're not going to be the people they should be.
Well, Coach, I think there's a lot in the media and a lot with teams in the last several years to point out. One is that you have to have it right off the field so you can have it right on the field. And a lot of programs who historically have taken chances on, let's say, athletes that really don't have the interest of the school at heart or even the team at heart have backfired miserably the last several years, and we won't go into those because they embarrassed the whole football setup. And as a football coach, you look at your program as a representation of who you are, and when your players and athlete represent as best as they can your image of what a team is, it shines across the board. And it's got to hurt sometimes when you put all this time and effort to do what you do is right, and you watch across the border or across the field or even across the country, and there's a program that has sort of skipped out and not put forth those elements. It's got to hurt from your standpoint. I know it bothers me as a sports guy when football or boxing or whatever sport it is has the knuckleheads making mistakes and allow to make mistakes and allow for a free pass because it misrepresents everything what sports does to all of us.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there are two pains. One is to see somebody doing it wrong, taking advantage of players and having success. Now, when I get that's one of the things I'm going to ask about. But the other, very candidly, the biggest pain for me is because I have 90 young men, and they don't all listen.
That's right.
They're, I had two children, and they didn't listen all the time. And so I have 90 men between the ages of essentially 18 and 22, and it pains me when I have to let somebody go because they just haven't listened to what we have had to say and what we're trying to do. And fortunately, we haven't had many of those, and I pray that we won't.
Well, Coach, I think you represent the best in the sport. We always love getting you on because we really go down a path of philosophy, ethics, and moral judgment every time without really being heavy-handed on it. The examples you have off the field, whether it's in your personal life, the books you read, the relationship you have with your wife. I mean, anybody who comes close to your ideology or your philosophy in your program is got to be touched the rest of their lives. I know we are here. We always think about you. We always talk about you. We reference you and a bunch of other coaches who seem to have that same philosophy because we want to see that carried forward in all of sports.
Well, your words are kind, and trust me, there are a lot of good people out there, and there are a lot of good coaches. And unfortunately, the media today, in fact, Karen and I were just talking about it last night when there was a TV show that was on, and they just continually seem to bring up the negative things. And I just mentioned to Karen, why won't they put on something that is positive? There are so many positive things happening out there, and that's why I appreciate programs like yours.
Well, thank you so much. Coach Tepper, I want to say thanks for taking the time with us. We'll probably give you a call in another month once you get that team suited up, and we can sort of talk about some of the new developing leaders on your squad.
Sounds great. Thanks, Bo.
Thank you, sir. That was Lou Tepper from IUP. He's one of our favorite stops in the early preseason. He's got an incredible program that's always going to be ranked in the top 25, if not the top 10 in the country. Thanks a lot, Coach.
You're welcome, Bo.
We are off the air.